Okay, this is car 2008 Pontiac Solstice. Started as a convertible, and then this is a hardtop that was added. So as you can see, the windows don't seal, but the windows are still intact. No door cards or anything like that, and there's no switches for the windows. But we did leave the wires here, so like I just connected a drill battery to these. So you can run the windows up and down. I usually just leave them down all summer, and then for storage I'll put them up. Or if I know I'm going to be taking to an event where it might rain, then they can go up. Interior is fully gutted, Momo steering wheel, Recaro seats, hydraulic handbrake, aftermarket shift knob. Parking brake cable is still here, but there is no parking brake, so you got to leave it in gear or block the wheels. It does have an innovative Motorsports wideband. As you can see at idle here, we're at about anywhere from 14.2, 14.5 roughly, so that's all good there. To turn it on, turn the key to the run position, fuel to on. This switch here powers the 12-volt socket. Press button to start. There's no clutch safety or anything like that. Headlights, taillights work. All that function is still there. Typically on your gauge, you're going to see check engine light, brake light, oil light, airbag light, ABS light. Those are all normal lights. That's always on. It always says you need to change the oil, but the oil was just changed. Paint is in poor condition. There's plenty of marks and scrapes and scratches. This is by no means a show car. This is by all means a go car. Here's, I guess, probably the worst looking part of the car. There's a side marker that goes here, a reflector that you could replace if you wanted to with an OEM part. The end of the over fender here would go past that typically. This side of the car, obviously still covered in decals. Tires are essentially brand new. There's probably, I don't know, I did one event that was probably 700 miles road rally on these things. Other than that, just a couple trips around town. Back bumper's been cut and replaced with a crash bar. So this does slide out with just a couple bolts. You can take that right out and replace it if you ever had to, if you drift this thing into a wall. Like I said, whole hardtop is completely removable with 2 quarter turn screws on each side here, and then the 2 on this side, and then obviously the same on the opposite side. The top is taped right now because over like 100, this catches a lot of air, creates a lot of drag, so this is just taped for efficiency, I guess you could say. Hood releases forward, typical Ecotec tick. That's going to be because this is a direct injection engine. Got RPM Motorsports hard pipes there for the charge pipes. Coolant level's good, oil's good, oil was just changed. Turbo, this is RPM Motorsports Franken turbo, a lot of people call it, or Sage 3 turbo. Essentially it's your stock size turbo, however, larger wheel basically. So you can push a little more boost, a little more volume. And that's essentially it for things that are worth looking at. And now we'll go drive it. This does have, I've got 4-point harnesses in here. The seats do have the slot. You could do the 5th point. These are actually 5-point harnesses. I just don't have the 5th in here because I don't like it. Only stock piece left in the interior is essentially this gauge cluster here. This does still move. It moves the entire panel. Runs on regular premium fuel. You can pre-mix in like up to 2 gallons of 110 in here if you really felt like you wanted to, and it still runs good on that. I was tuned by Tyler at C-Spar Performance using HP tuners. I'm not really going to show you anything too exciting here until we get out of the neighborhood. This car likes to be driven hot, so I always make sure that it's very well warmed up prior to taking it out. Just seems to run better that way. I think anytime you modify a car this much, they can be finicky. So I just do what the car likes. There's a boost gauge down here as well. If I remember correctly, I think we set it at 23.8 pounds. It makes just short of 400 horsepower. It's about 390, 392. It's on KW coilovers. Because there's no sound deadening in here, it is a relatively loud car, so hopefully you can hear me. I'll just stop this here because of the train, and then once we get out in the country I can get on it a little bit. I'll start the video back up. So as you can see, you can drive along at 60 miles an hour comfortably. It's not like pulling like crazy or anything. You probably should get in alignment, but as you can see, it's pretty good. I put new tires on, like I mentioned, but I haven't had it aligned since then. And this is a different wheel size than was on it previously. Five-speed manual, 2-liter LNF engine. The clutch is brand new as well, maybe 1,000, 1,500 miles ago. New OEM flywheel. Pretty easy to slide, obviously. That was maybe 65, 70% throttle in second gear. I'm not going to get too wild with it out on the street here, but you at least get an idea of the power, and that it runs good. Crazy, and nobody knows what it is because nobody does anything like this to a Solstice. RPMs up there, especially like first gear, you hit the rev limiter. And it makes all sorts of wild noises. Absolute blast to drive. It's like a little go-kart. I mean, as far as steering input goes, it's very direct. It'll go wherever you tell it to. than people in the way you can take roundabouts at like, I don't know, 45, 50. Pretty much kick it out wherever you want.